Welcome back, you crazy gun nuts. Today we're going to look at this AR-10 that I built. This is an 8.6 Blackout. My wife and I were watching some videos on 8.6 Blackout and we saw how quiet it was, especially with a bolt gun. And I was really wanting to put together a semi-auto gun. So we started getting parts, especially after we were at a gun shop over in Indiana and they happened to have a bag of 8.6 Blackout brass. So we bought it. It's the original Q brass. I think that was manufactured by Hornady, but don't quote me on that. So that started our 8.6 rabbit hole. And we bought a few parts here and a few parts there, and eventually we got the gun together. I used an Arrow upper and lower receiver. It's got an Arrow lower parts kit, so it's just got a standard mil-spec trigger on it right now. I have a Radian Raptor charge handle. The gun is not loaded or chambered. I just use a standard mil-spec buffer tube. It has a Arma-spec buffer in it. I'm using the SBA5 brace. The barrel and the bolt were both from Mostec. The bolt was headspace for the barrel. The gas block is a Superlative Arms adjustable gas block. I'm running this at like setting 34 and it's really soft shooting and it's locking back on the last round. So I think that was at like setting 36. It started locking back, so I ran it down 2 more and it's been locking back consistently ever since. Muzzle brake is just what I use for my Griffin armament can, my Bushwhacker 46. And even with a 46 caliber can, this thing suppresses extremely quiet. Like, it's very hearing safe. It's got very low sound signature. But it's crazy to hear how loud that bullet is going down the range, because you hear just it's just a weird sound hearing a subsonic bullet of this size just hauling ass down the range. And I'm also running the Holosun night vision on this. I wanted a small night vision optic for this build, since I already had the night vision optic and didn't really have a home for it. I was like, man, this would be a perfect setup for something, you know, compact with night vision, easy to store, be a good trunk gun, truck gun. And I mean, it's just a great gun all around. I do eventually want to change the trigger out in this. It's, like I said, standard mil-spec trigger. It's kind of shit. I also want to put an ambi safety on it, and I'd like to try one of those ambi mag catches, see how they work in this. But for now, this thing runs great. It's been flawless. Have not had any issues with it since I got the barrel lined out. I did have a few issues with the barrel when I first got it in, and Mostec took care of that like really quick, got it back, and this thing's been 100% since. The handguard is a low profile handguard. This is a high profile upper, so there's a slight gap in between the Picatinny at the top up here, but that giant optic on there seems to bridge that gap pretty good. And this optic's not bridged, it's exactly on the upper receiver, but it kind of helps hide that difference in height. When I was looking for a handguard, I couldn't really find anything that was like in stock for an 8-inch barrel, because I think it's a 7-inch handguard, and 7-inch handguards just are not very common in the AR-10 platform. I'm probably going to end up putting the LaRue trigger on this, because I got a LaRue trigger in one of my ARs and I really like it, so I'm thinking I'm going to buy a few more of those just for other ARs that we have. I'll show you a quick size comparison. This is an 8.6 Blackout. This is a Fort Scott Munitions 285 grain tumble upon impact round. This is a 220 grain 300 Blackout. So you can see the 8.6 is quite a bit taller. The case is also quite a bit bigger. Here's an 8.6 Blackout, same one, next to a 308. The 8.6, as you can see, is a little bit taller than the 308 is. That's a 150 grain bullet. But yeah, this is a massive hog of a bullet. It's a 338 diameter. It uses either bonded 338 bullets, or you have to use solid copper or brass bullets. Because the twist rate in this is a 1-to-3 twist, it looks like threads going down the barrel. It's so tight. So if you don't use a good strong bullet, the bullet will come apart from the violent twist rate and just destroy a can. So that's why I'm using Sierra Match Kings and Berger HTM, I think they are. It's a hybrid open tip match, I think is what it is. And for powder, I'm using 1680. It seems to do pretty good. I'm going to play around with some different loads. I tried 4198 and it seemed to be less consistent, or the group opened up a little bit. So I'm going to play around with CFE Black, see if I can get that group a little tighter, because right now at like 50 yards, this is shooting about an inch, inch and a quarter, and I'm guessing it's going to open up at 100 yards. I want to eventually bring that group in tighter, but right now, I mean, it's acceptable for what it is. Now this cost me about $1,500 to build it the way it is, not including the optic, but the optic would be about $2,500. But so far I've really enjoyed this. The recoils, like I said, is not bad. It's very soft shooting. It's just a light push as opposed to a snap. From one of the biggest differences you'll see in the size of the round is when you compare it to a 5.56. There is a 5.56 compared to the 8.6 Blackout. The 8.6 Blackout uses standard AR-10 magazines. I just got these labeled 8.6 Blackout so they don't get loaded up in any of my 308s. I use Lancer magazines for my 300 Black, so they're completely different. I eventually want to get different mags for my 8.6, but I just haven't done it yet. Eventually, I want to get an 8.6 can for this. I'm thinking about the YHM Bad Larry. It seems to be a pretty good can for what it cost. So I think that might be the next purchase for this project. It's a project. These things are never done. You can have a gun for 30 years and you're going to change things on it as time progresses. And again, this is going to have some more changes and more iterations to it as time goes on. But so far, it's a really good shooter the way it is. Even though it's got the shitty mil-spec trigger in it, it seems to shoot pretty good. And I'm so far very happy with it. This won't be my last video I'll make on this. I'm going to make another video later on when I get more things done to this like I want and to get a proper 8.6 can. I want to do a good shooting video and a comparison between this and other calibers for sound comparison. Now I do want to shout out Eagle Run 23. I watched a buttload of his videos and he has some extremely good information on his channel about the 8.6 Blackout. If you're getting interested in 8.6 Blackout, I would strongly suggest you follow him. He's got, I mean, just video after video on his 8.6 builds and reloading these. The guy's done some phenomenal work. I learned a lot from him. I've never reached out to him, but I just wanted to give him a shout out in this video because I do appreciate the videos he did because that helped me a lot. Now let me know in the comments if you think 8.6 is a gimmick that's going to be one of those rounds that's gone in 3 years, or do you think this 8.6 is going to be around to stay? Me personally, I like it, so I don't see this a reason not to have this. It suppresses great. It's a big, heavy bullet. I've seen bullet weights all the way up to 350 grains. 350 grains at 1,000 feet per second is 777 foot-pounds. That's a lot of power. That is like the upper end of 357. So, I mean, that's like getting hit with a 357 quiet. Just whoosh. So this is more than enough to take down game that we have. I live in Ohio. This should be able to take down any deer, even though it's not a legal deer gun because it's a neck down cartridge. But whatever. In a pinch, it would do. But if you got any questions about this, man, drop them in the comments. And like I said, if you really want to go down the 8.6 rabbit hole, follow Eagle Run 23. And as always, thanks for watching. Stay safe, and let's take back our Second Amendment.